Wolverine versus wolf. Who would win this fight? Both animals are widespread across the taiga and tundra belts of the northern hemisphere, with the wolf even being able to spread to southern Europe and small parts of the Middle East, which is why it used to be the land mammal with the largest distribution area on Earth. Today, wolf and wolverine still share the forests and meadows in North America, Europe, and Asia. When these animals meet in the wild, it is often no coincidence, as wolverines are known for following in the footsteps of other hunters to steal their prey, or at least what's left of it. Before we begin, I'll ask you, who do you think wins this battle? Write it in the comments, and then we'll compare the two animals. Wolverines are the largest mustelidae that can be found next to the sea otters and reach a body of length over 1 meter. With the tail, they can even reach 1.30 meters, and their weight is around 30 kilograms for larger males. This makes the wolverine a good deal bigger than its well-known relative, the honey badger, which is already extremely dangerous at only 16 kilograms. The two also share a few traits, but more on that later. In wolves, there is a significant difference in weight and size depending on the habitat they have adapted to. The wolves from the Middle East, for example, are just 80 centimeters long and weigh only 20 kilograms, so even less than a normal-sized wolverine. On the other hand, certain types of wolves from northern Russia and Canada can reach 70 to 90 kilograms. For our comparison, we take a standard wolf of the subspecies Canis lupus lupus. The largest specimen of this species that was discovered in the Ukraine reached an enormous weight at 86 kilograms, but an average animal is only 40 kilograms. Their body length is about 1.30 meters with a shoulder height of 60 centimeters. Wolves are generally a bit larger than wolverines, and this is particularly evident at the extreme end of the very largest specimens. Average animals, on the other hand, differ less strongly, but wolves still have an advantage in this regard as long as they don't belong to the smallest subspecies. Wolverines actually look kinda cute, but that changes as soon as they open their mouths and you see their scary teeth. It's enough if these animals yawn, which you can see in this picture, and everyone immediately realizes that these little beasts are not to be trifled with. However, wolverines not only have 38 large teeth, but also powerful jaws because they need them to chew bones and meat that was frozen by the icy temperatures in the far north. They also have long, sharp claws with which the wolverine wounds and catches its prey and defends itself against predators or other wolverines. The claws are also useful for climbing and digging. Wolverines can even extend their claws a little further for these tasks. A passive weapon that weakens the morale of the enemy and warns against attacking the wolverine is the extremely strong odor that this animal spreads through a liquid leaking from the glands. Wolves have similar weapons, but less ability to use their much shorter claws in combat than the bear-like martens. They actually solely rely on their teeth, which are much more dangerous than that of dogs. Wolves have longer snouts and smaller spaces between their teeth. In addition, longer and thicker fangs that are slightly curved and come together like scissors. They can reach a length of up to 6.5 centimeters, and in total, wolves have 42 teeth in their mouths. Although a wolverine's teeth look extremely dangerous, it's still the wolf that has the deadlier bite. The reason for this is quite simple. Wolves have a much larger skull and a longer snout, which allows for a deeper bite and more power. The wolverine's teeth look so dangerous because its head is quite small at 15 centimeters, while that of a wolf is over 66% longer at 25 centimeters. However, the wolverine has its huge paws and long sharp claws to be able to use more diverse attacks that enable it to compensate for this weakness. This is another point that confirms that the wolf is superior to the wolverine in terms of its bite, because a wolf not only has a higher bite force, but even a higher bite force in relation to the body weight. A wolverine has a predator bite ratio of 105, with 100 being the average. The gray wolf has a value of 109 and is therefore also not anywhere near the top, but still above average. Now, we also have to note that a wolf weighs more, which is why the difference in the actual bite force is significantly higher than the ratio. While 593 newtons per square centimeter were measured in a 60-kilogram wolf, it is only 224 for the wolverine. The maximum running speed is actually not that important in a fight, it only plays a role if one of the two should run away, but a comparison is still interesting. The maximum speed of a wolverine is 30 kilometers per hour, which is not slow, but also not particularly fast. In any case, this does not come close to a wolf, which can reach twice as much with up to 60 kilometers per hour. Much more important, however, is the reaction speed, for the simple reason that the Wolverine would never run away anyway, and here the two are very similar. In a video that I have linked to you below, you can see how a Wolverine defends itself against two wolves at the same time and reacts immediately to every attack. The two wolves can also easily avoid the Wolverine's attacks, but the Wolverine has to work twice as hard because it is alone. In the end, the wolves realize that a fight with this enemy is not worth the risk, and the Wolverine calmly continues on its way. So wolves can run much faster, but in battle, they both move at a similar speed. Wolverines are quite well protected by a thick coat of brown fur, which on the one hand keeps them warm, and on the other attenuates attacks from other animals. They also have the ability to climb trees, which allows them to escape other animals or ambush them from above. On top of that, they are good swimmers and very persistent runners who can cover 45 kilometers in one night. The biggest advantage this animal has, however, is its mental strength. Just like the famous honey badger, the Wolverine is not lacking in self-confidence. The relatively small omnivore tends to mess with larger animals, and even when attacked by two wolves like in this video, shows no fear. But that can also be a disadvantage. The Wolverine's aggressive behavior is helpful in a fight with a chance of victory, but sometimes it also puts it in hopeless situations. For example, cocky Wolverines who want to drive pumas or even bears away from their prey are sometimes eaten by these animals. Most of the strengths that the wolf possesses can only be used in packs, which in reality has made it one of the most successful hunters and, before humans, the most widespread land mammal in the world. For example, wolves have well-coordinated attacks in the group, in which one always attacks the victim from behind, and then another attacks while the victim turns around. Even opponents who are stronger than a wolf, such as extremely agile, muscular mountain lions and even gigantic bisons, can be defeated with this technique. Communication over long distances of up to 16 kilometers is also possible through the loud howling, which gives the wolves a huge advantage compared to solitary animals. But some of the wolf's strengths, such as stamina and fighting experience with conspecifics and other large and dangerous animals, are of course also of great value to a lone wolf. Wolverines, as their name suggests, eat pretty much everything, from berries, birds, eggs, mice, rabbits, to reindeer, young elk, and even predators such as lynxes. Everything is on their menu. A special skill that helps them when hunting in winter is silence, because thanks to the large paws, a Wolverine can move almost silently on the snow and thus sneak up on its unsuspecting prey. Instead of hunting themselves, Wolverines often target animals killed by other predators. They pick up a trail with their excellent nose, follow it to the end, and then try to drive away the real hunter. They benefit from their aggressiveness as it usually scares off even much larger opponents such as wolves, cougars, and bears who usually prefer to avoid the fight if a conflict can be avoided. This way, Wolverines can also eat large carrion, although they would have problems killing this prey themselves. Wolves feed almost exclusively on deer and wild boar. These animals make up over 96% of their total diet. Hunting as a group is usually the important occupation of the wolf pack. Experienced wolves hunt with a plan to save energy and increase the chance of success. A few members of the pack purposefully drive the prey in the direction of the others who are hidden and wait. If the prey comes close, they snap out of cover and attack. They mostly kill weak, sick, or old animals because stags and wild boar are risky opponents even for several wolves. When wolves hunt alone, they have to cautiously sneak up on their prey and then sprint the last few meters. If the animal escapes, they quickly give up the chase, as wasting too much energy could end badly. Since Wolverine and wolf actually meet in nature and also fight, you can see how such a fight plays out. In one video, a wolf attacks the Wolverine first, but it reacts immediately and clings to its attacker. The wolf snaps at the Wolverine several times, but it turns and twists quickly, and at the same time pulls itself so close to the wolf with its claws that it can no longer be bitten. For a few minutes, the two wind in a circle, and while the wolf does not manage to injure the Wolverine due to its techniques, the Wolverine bites the wolf in the nose and injures the snout. The wolf finally has enough, withdraws, and runs away. In another video, you can see how the Wolverine approaches an eating wolf and intends to drive it away from its prey. The wolf attacks, but just like in the first fight, the Wolverine grabs to roll and pulls itself under the wolf with its claws and bites in return. This wolf gives up pretty fast and tries to escape, but the Wolverine chases and attacks the wolf for half a minute before it finally manages to run away. In both cases, the wolf was about twice the size of the Wolverine, and yet the little bear Martin won. It could of course play out differently, but you could see in these clips what advantages Wolverines have with their arms, claws, and mobility. I say the Wolverine wins the fight 7 out of 10 times, a result which surprised me, because before I watched the Wolverine fights, I assumed that the wolves would do better. In another video, you can also see how a Wolverine attacks a cougar, scares it away from its prey until it runs away, and the same thing happens with a black bear. Even such strong predators quickly realize how dangerous this little devil can be. Wolves are among the few animals that kill Wolverines, but this usually happens in packs where the techniques and strengths of the wolf can reach their full potential. In a fair fight, however, I see the Wolverine ahead. But what do you think? Am I right or completely wrong? Write it in the comments, and take care. Until next time, bye!